Please like my videos, please subscribe to my channel, and please press the bell icon so that you get to know when my latest video has come. And to learn more and to find a video relevant to you, please do check out my videos list.
Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. Firstly, today is a very important day for those who may come and look at this video later. Today is 14th of January 2021 and today is a very important day, a very important event and one of a very rare events. Now today is Makar Sankranti. So first of all, for the event or the festival of Makar Sankranti, let me wish all those who are celebrating this festival and all those who get connected to this festival in some way or the other a very auspicious festival. And it's called different terms in different areas of the country. So I'm not going to get into each of the terms. However, whether it's Pongal, Lori, whatever it is called in different parts, it is the same event which is being celebrated today. So what is Makar Sankranti? Now Sankranti is the term which means that Sankraman or meeting point or joining. So the word Sankranti is about movement from one into the other or joining. So Makar Sankranti is about the Sankraman of the sun into the sign of Makar, which is ruled by Saturn. Now firstly, let me just tell you that the dog Ewok is around. In fact, it's just next to me. So if there are any sounds that you hear, I've tried to keep my room as soundproof as possible. So the only sounds in this room come from me or come from the dog Ewok. I don't think so I have much control over her. She has proved so in many videos before. So if there are any sounds of clanking, breaking, chewing, scraping, all these are due to Ewok. So my apologies in advance if you hear that sound. She may roam around in front of the camera whenever she wants. So my apologies in advance for that as well. Okay. So why is this event an important event, though this comes almost every year? So firstly, for the yearly perspective, it is important because in terms of mythology, Sun and Saturn are the father and son relationship characters, which means Saturn is the child or the bearing or the offspring of the planetary body or the planetary energy Sun. And but because there is some history behind both of them, and so there is some degree of animosity also, and hence both of them don't do very well in each other's signs. Definitely Sun doesn't do too very well in Capricorn and Aquarius, and Saturn doesn't do too well in Leo as well. However, though Sun gathers a lot of Digbala in the 10th house, which is ruled by Saturn, the natural sign of Saturn, which is Capricorn. So definitely there are connotations to this relationship, and they are also in the opposite enemy camps, so there are definitely challenges. So why is this a special event? The special event is because animosity persists. However, the father is entering the house of the sun, or the first house of the sun, means not S-U-N but S-O-N, which is Saturn. So the sun or the father enters the sign ruled by the child Saturn, or the first sign ruled by the child Saturn, and so it's seen in mythology as some sort of a milan or coming together. So because the father and son seems to be coming together from a mythological perspective, and so this has a special meaning because it seems to be it connotes or denotes the coming together of opposing energies, but for peace and love, affection, and brings in the peace between the two, at least for some time. So this is the time of new beginnings and forgetting or leaving the past behind, leaving the baggages behind, leaving the challenges behind, leaving the frustrations behind, leaving the anxieties behind, and most important, leaving the fears behind. When you don't like somebody, you also to an extent are fearful of them, or vice versa. Because you are fearful of something, so you don't like it. So if you are fearful of spiders, you don't like spiders. You are fearful of snakes, so you don't like snakes. So there is some degree of fear, anxiety, animosity, frustration also against those things which you don't like, and as well as vice versa. So coming together of together of these energy, the Sun and Saturn energies, means also the coming together of opposing energies, giving up all the baggage of frustration, anxieties, fears and so forth. So today is the day of new beginning, where you leave behind all these fears, anxieties, cynicism, skepticism, and start afresh with a lot of energy and a lot of motivation, because Sun is the giver of life, and Sun, the soul, is telling you, let's begin a new life, let's have a new beginning. And so Sun's going into the sign of Capricorn also represents the new beginning of life also, or Sun going into or moving towards Uttarayana, moving towards the northern direction. And so the days also start getting longer, and because Sun is the giver of life, days becoming longer means more and more life coming to the world, because it is the Sun's energy which brings life to us directly or indirectly. So this a new beginning is also a new giver of life to our dreams, to our expectations, to our desires, to our goals as well. However, what is very, very important is soul is coming to the sign of Capricorn. What does Capricorn represent? Capricorn represents organization, hard work, justice, fairness, structure, discipline, which means the new beginning comes to you only when the new beginning starts with discipline, starts with more organized effort, starts with a lot of hard work, and starts with a lot of dedication, loyalty to your goal, holding steadfast to the goal is the new beginning. The new beginning cannot be without being organized, without being disciplined, without adhering to your values, and without moving with those. Only then the new beginning comes in, when you leave everything behind, fears, frustration, and start steadfast with a goal in mind, with a lot of discipline, organized effort, and ready to work hard, putting all your focus in one area of your life and ready to work hard towards that goal, is what the energy of Sun moving into Capricorn represents. Now this is a very, very historic day, because normally what happens is, when Sun enters Capricorn, or Sun comes to the sign or the house of the child, the father comes to the sign of the child, then all the last 28 years this child was not there to receive the father. Saturn was not in Capricorn after the last time it was in Capricorn. Saturn and Sun were last time together in Capricorn in the year 1991, and so for the next 2 years, 91 and 92, Saturn and Sun came together, worked together in the sign of Capricorn during Makar Sankranti. But after that, after 92, 93, last 28 years, because when we are now in 2021, for the last 28 years, whenever Sun came into the sign of Capricorn, Saturn was missing. Saturn wasn't there to receive the father, which means that this year it is a special case. Last year also Saturn and Sun did come together in the sign of Capricorn. However, the difference between last year and this year is that last year, after the Sun came into Capricorn on the 14th or the 15th. So what is the date of Makar Sankranti? Normally 14th generally is the date of Makar Sankranti, because this is one of those few festivals of the Hindu calendar which follow the Gregorian calendar rather than the lunar calendar. So because it is based on the Sun's movement, so generally Sun, because it goes around the 1 year constitutes of 365 days, and every 4th year is a leap year. So generally more or less Sun enters the sign of Capricorn on the 14th of January, and some days, sometimes maybe between 14th and 15th of January. So last year also, when Sun entered the sign of Capricorn, that time Saturn was not in Capricorn, Saturn was still in Sagittarius. So Sun passed over Saturn, which was in the sign of Sagittarius, moved into Capricorn, and after the sun had transited more than 50% of the sign already, only then, end of the month of January, is when Saturn entered Capricorn. And so that which means that sun had already passed through the house or sign of Saturn of Capricorn, and Saturn entered the sign of Capricorn much later. So there was no meeting or crossing together of the sun and Saturn. There was no crossing. This year the crossing is happening because the planet Saturn is already in the sign of Capricorn, one when sun enters it and when sun crosses over it. So there will be a time where sun and Saturn will be at 0 degrees from each other. I think this morning sun is at roughly around 0 degrees and Saturn I think is at 9 degrees or so, which means that for the sun to catch up with Saturn will require another 9 to 10 days, by which time Saturn would have crossed another 2 degrees or so. So roughly by the end of the month is when end of January is when Saturn and sun would almost be together, almost at the same signs and same degrees, when Saturn and sun roughly will be between 11 degrees to 12 degrees. So anyways, so this is a special month because the crossing, meeting together of sun and Saturn is happening in this month, and so it is very important. The last time when sun and Saturn were together, when sun crossed over the planet of Saturn in the sign of Capricorn, was in 1991, end of in January 14, 1991. However, on that particular day, there was a very important event happening for around the world. That event was that Iraq or Saddam Hussein had conquered or annexed Kuwait because he laid claim over the oil fields, and because of the annexation of Kuwait by Iraq or Saddam Hussein, the United Nations had given a deadline, and that deadline was finishing on the 14th of January. And the deadline was that either you give up your claims on Kuwait and start moving back, or after the deadline is over, the United Nations sanctioned powers, US, France, UK and many other countries who had a joint operation, including Saudi Arabia, some Middle East countries also, would invade Kuwait and liberate Kuwait from Iraq. And so that was the deadline. And when the deadline crossed, on the 15th of January, there was the largest air raid into Kuwait and on the army and air force of Iraq, or that led by Saddam Hussein. So the largest air raid ever, air campaign ever, was started on January 15, the same day of Makar Sankranti in 1991. And sun travels in the sky, so from the sky came the air raid, and it was largest ever, and that was the entire almost 10 to 12 large global powers and many other smaller countries also assisting in the war effort. Entire Middle East was engulfed, and many countries of Europe, US and many countries of Southeast Asia also, Australia, many countries were involved in that air raid. And so okay, once again Ewok will not let go without saying hi. So Ewok, say hi to people. So okay, here's Ewok. Yeah, take this. So that air campaign was successful, and within days Saddam Hussein was driven out of Iraq. Iraqi army lost that war and they were banished. However, there were a lot of lives lost, there were fires, a lot of oil fields were on fire, there were huge political upheavals, at least thousands of people lost their lives. Iraqi army lost their life. Some of the allied army people also lost their lives. And so that was a very turmoil bringing time for the world. Iraq had launched missiles into Israel, prompting Israel to say that we may even attack back Iraq at that point of time. So there was a lot of upheavals and there were challenges around the world. So generally, whenever there is very epochal or epoch bringing event, such as planetary transits, very important transits. Such a world upheaval of challenges around the world may also happen. So what is so special about the Sankranti this year? Now, because Sun is entered Capricorn while Saturn is still there and going to transit over Saturn roughly around the end of the month, in 14-15 days is when Sun will be going over Saturn, and they will be close to degrees. So that will be the time where you will also find that closer to those events days, there may be challenging things that we hear around the world. However, this entire month, because they both are going to be in the same sign, so this is going to be a challenge. But the biggest challenge is not just because of Saturn and Sun together. The biggest challenge is the giver of life is Jupiter, and Jupiter is also transiting in through the sign of Capricorn. One Sun and Saturn are also are there, and this is the thing which comes only in hundreds of years. Where Saturn is in the sign of Capricorn, Jupiter is also in the sign of Capricorn, and Sun is transiting over it while Jupiter is still there. So this is an important event which happens. This comes once in many decades, so this is an important thing. But because Jupiter is the giver of life, and Jupiter is passing through his debilitation sign, which means life is under threat, and Jupiter also signifies biological life. So biological reasons may also be one of the areas that get affected. So life can come under threat because of outbreak of diseases also, but it could also mean that there could be events around the world in various parts of the world, some big and small, which could also threaten life. And so this is the time where one needs to be very careful, but this is also the time of new beginnings. So there are 4 things which are very important. This is the time of new beginning. This is the time of new opportunities which could come by to you in a job or a new role or a business or marriage. Something of that can happen. Admission to universities, opening up of certain economies, startup of something can also be there. A change can also be there. Some change in life, either good or bad, some sudden change can come in your life, and a movement can also come where you move from one company to the other, you move from one relationship to the other, you move from one job to the other, you move from one role to the other, you also move from one thought process into the other. So there are these 4 things can come about in your life basis how Saturn is placed, how Sun is placed, and Jupiter is placed in your natal chart. So because this is an important month, this entire month, based on what your ascendant is definitely important, but these planetary placements, how they are placed, is very important in your respective chart, because those areas will be activated. So wherever Sun, Saturn and Jupiter are placed in your natal horoscope, in your birth horoscope, irrespective of what houses they rule, they will play a small part. But whichever houses Sun, Jupiter and Saturn are placed in your house, all 3 get activated for this entire month. And so this entire month, and especially if you are either in the Sun Dasha, Saturn Dasha or Jupiter Dasha or any of these Antar Dashas, Pratyantar Dasha is not so very important. The Sun Dasha, or you are in any the Sun, Jupiter or Saturn Dasha or Antar Dasha, then this is a more important event, more important time for you. And this entire month till Sun crosses over into the sign of Aquarius, roughly middle of the next month, till that time these challenge bringing or good news bringing, opportunity bringing, movement bringing, new beginning bringing events or news can happen. So there can be a communication, there can be offer, there can be some upheaval, some challenge, or some forceful also, which may also come about to you. For Makar Sankranti, for you today, if you look at the Kalpurush Kundli, the Kalpurush Lagna, 5 planets are transiting through Capricorn sign, and Sun, Moon and Mercury are also transiting, which means 3 mind planets. Moon, Mercury and Jupiter are the 3 mind planets, and all 3 of them are transiting through the Capricorn sign. Saturn is a very karmic planet, and Sun is the soul. So Sun is bringing karma to action, which means Karma is something which you have to take care of, or you have to repay the debts and of your karma. Karmic debt has to be repaid, or initiation of the time of paying your karmic debts, or a very, very karmic event. And all the three mind planets, Moon, Mercury and Jupiter are involved. So power of analysis, choice, wisdom is all given to you, all three activated. Use this time judiciously, because this time will not come again to you. Such planetary conjunctions on the day of the Makar Sankranti will not all come to you at the same time. You get Mars in the Lagna itself, in Aries sign itself, Rahu in the second house in Taurus, Ketu in the 8th house in Scorpio, Venus in the 9th house in Sagittarius, and you get 5 planets, Sun, Saturn, Moon, Mercury and Jupiter, all in the 10th house. So with Mars in the Lagna means definitely it is a time of putting a lot of energy and enthusiasm in what you want to do. Rahu in the second house also means that you need to be able to take your livelihood forward, relook at your livelihood sources. Maybe you need to change, you need to shed your orthodox methods of making money and move towards, or relook at how you earn money. Look at new avenues. If you feel you're stuck up, this is the time to relook at, rethink of what you're doing, because it is the time of new beginnings. So Rahu in the sign of Taurus in the second house in the money sign means that you need to relook. But second house is also the house of values and principles, which means that in trying to look for a new livelihood, new means of earning, don't shed your values and your principles, stick on to them, because Ketu is definitely in Scorpio. However, because all the planets are on the other side, or on one side of Rahu and Ketu, all between your 9th house to the Lagna. In the 9th house you have Venus, you have Moon, Mars, your Moon, Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn and Sun, all in the 10th house, and you have Mars in the Lagna, which means all the 7 planetary entities are between Rahu and Ketu on the other side of the axis, between the 9th house and the 1st house. So this forms a Kalp Sarp dosha, and a very, very strong Kalp Sarp dosha, which affects societal changes, which affects how the world works, how the world relooks at, this is also tug of war for power. This is also how the world looks at travel around the world, business around the world. New learnings are going to come to mind. And Venus in the sign of Sagittarius, which means in the sign of religion, duty, which means that don't hang on to materialism, shedding your religious or your duties, or your dharma. Your dharma is your duty. So don't chase materialism and shed your dharma for materialism. This is also the opening up of a lot of economies around the world, and so a new beginning is definitely seen. With this, I also see a new trend also in the coronavirus thing. Definitely a new energy will also be coming, a new beginning will also come in for that. However, the next 30 days, as I said, is crucial, because this very, very strong Kalp Sarp dosha is also in effect and will remain so for another 15 to 20 days definitely, till moves over Mars and moves over Rahu, and then goes into the 3rd house and onwards. So till that time, the Kalp Sarp dosha is also strongly in effect. So that's why this becomes a critical point for all of us. So Makar Sankranti with Sun joining Saturn after more than 28 years, and with Jupiter passing through a debilitation sign at the same time, which happens in many decades, and with Kalp Sarp dosha also happening, and Mars in Lagna, this happens once in hundreds of years. So this is a Lagna which very, very rarely you will be seeing. If you came across this Lagna with anybody's life, please show me where Sun and Saturn are going so close together. Mars is in the Lagna, and with such strong planetary forces coming together on a Makar Sankranti day. Let's see if you can come up with such a horoscope, because this is a really different times, a very epoch making event time, and the next 30 days are going to be very crucial. So keep that in mind. So there will be something which induces a change already. I have received my news last evening. Somebody communicated to me of an important important change in my life, which was unexpected, but suddenly it came. So I need to gear up for it. So I can give you my example. So definitely it starts from me, but it will happen with something or the other will definitely happen. One thing will lead to the other in most of our lives, as long as and about the areas of life where Sun, Jupiter or Saturn is there. And this is absolutely guaranteed. Wherever Sun is placed, Jupiter or Saturn is placed in your horoscope, something or the other about the three houses will definitely come by in the next 30 days. So my request to you is, in the next 30 days, or if it has already happened to you beginning of yesterday, 1 or 2 days, it's the cusp period, please write in the comment section what is the change which has come about to you and what you're expecting, or what has already been communicated but is going to happen as a consequence. This one, please communicate in the comment section below. And through the month, if you come about any event, then please take time to come back to the comment section and put in your comments about your experiences and what you are going to do, what you have experienced, what you have gone through this month, and what this month has brought about for you. However, as I've said before, please ensure that this is the time of new beginnings. This is not a time for disappointments or carrying baggage or issues or challenges or problems in your life. Please let go of any cynicism or frustrations, anxieties, fears behind. Start off a new, use this as a new beginning in your life, new movement. Let go of old things. If you're carrying baggage of any kind, or if you are tied to something which is not serving you, please let go of it, because this is the time, this is an auspicious beginning. However, be careful not to let go of something in a hurry or at random. Think through. You have the entire month to think through before you take a decision. So friends, very, very auspicious time. Use this period judiciously. Use this to initiate new beginnings and look forward to this entire month of the challenges. However, be careful of what decisions you take. Don't drive rashly. Take care of fire equipment in the house. There could be small fire, there could be small accident, there could be small events, but it could also be the beginning of new auspicious things, also prosperous bringing period also for you. So friends, look into your own horoscopes and decide for yourself what you want to do, what you want to let go, what baggage you want to let go of, who you want to say sorry and wake up, what new relationships you want to start beginning or start healing, and what new opportunities you look forward. Whatever you do, do it with a lot of energy, do it with a lot of discipline, with a lot of organized effort, and with a lot of motivated, willpower induced step forward. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation for me, reach out to me at the links given below. Until some other time with some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.